5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
And with that, welcome to your Media Mosh podcast. I am your host, Shane Beauregard, coming out with all your news, reviews, and previews. I want to watch on your streaming services, your television, and your local theater. I hope everyone's had a great new year. And I know it's been a little bit between episodes, but I had a minor procedure done right before New Year's. So I was kind of out of it, and I just kind of took the time to relax and just watch movies and not have a care in the world. So it was great. But I'm back on the horse. And not to say this episode is going to be unscripted like the last one. I do have some notes, so it is a little more organized. If there's a different vibe coming from me today, just call it a newfound energy. And I'll be using that moving forward, people. So I don't have a whole lot of news because honestly, this is how far detached I've been. I had no idea. I haven't turned the news on. I stay away from it on the internet. The whole Capitol situation, I had no idea to the day after. I was at a client's house, and they were like, hey, what do you think about that? And I had no clue. So I really have not been paying attention to any kind of movie news or news in general. And it does help with the stress levels. I can guarantee you that if you could just take a step back. But anyway, all that to say is the only thing I will talk about is Wonder Woman. I have not seen it. I am a little scared too. Because everyone that I trust that's seen the movie, not good things, people. And DC, son of a bitch, I try to stick up for you as much as I can, but you're making it tough. You're making it difficult for me to keep defending my position with you. Because I'm hearing Suicide Squad was more entertaining than this movie. Like, apparently Patty Jenkins, who I do like, she just threw a bunch of stuff in there that made zero to little sense. Now, all that to say is I probably will try to get away to the movie theater this weekend and check it out on the big screen. And then report back to myself. So over the course of the said week when I was laid up, I went back, and again, on my MCU journey. I can't remember where I left it with you guys, but I knocked out Thor 2. It's still terrible. It's probably, outside of Iron Man 2, the worst MCU movie there is. I watched all 3 Captain Americas, and after watching them, my preferred order is Winter Soldier, First Avenger, and then Civil War. Civil War actually has the bigger action scenes in it, like the airport scene and that, and Black Panther's cool. That's my preferred order, and I was really thinking about, like, what is the better series, the Captain America series or the Dark Knight series? That's a tough one, because for me, in my opinion, Batman Begins and, of course, The Dark Knight are so strong. And I even enjoyed the last one in that series, even though I admit it's the worst of the series. But there are moments, Tom Hardy, that I actually really like in that movie. But every Captain America movie is solid. There's not really a weak one in there, in my opinion. So, tough call there. That is a debate we could have for another time. I did rewatch Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, Ant-Man and the Wasp. And I found myself enjoying Ant-Man more this time around than I did when I saw it in the theater. So, yeah, it's been a cool ride back down the MCU train. Because for me, I haven't seen a lot of these movies in some of them a couple years. Like Thor 2, Iron Man 2. The one I won't revisit is Guardians of the Galaxy Part 2. I already watched that twice, and to me, it's in the bottom 3. So I'm working on a tier system, my own personal MCU tier system, and I'll have that ready hopefully sometime soon when I get through with a couple of other movies. Yeah, again, I told you it's not news, but it's where I'm at. So coming out on Netflix this week is Outside the Wire with Anthony Mackie, Disenchantment, another season of that. Currently, you have History of Swear Words. Coming out this Friday on Disney Plus is WandaVision. And, of course, I'm going to watch it. But I don't know the vibe of that show. Like, it's looks so random and all over the place. I'm kind of excited about it. So we'll see where that goes. And so let's get into what's the top 10 streaming shows and movies on Netflix as we speak. Coming in at number 10. I'm going to slow down so I can say this right. Coco Melon. There you go. Number 9. LA's Finest. The canceled Jessica Alba and Gabriel. Is it Gabriel Union? Yeah, let's go with that. Number 7. Pieces of a Woman. Number 6. History of Swear Words, hosted by Nick Cage. Number 5. We Can Be Heroes. Great cast, terrible movie. Number 4. Surviving Death. Number 3. Lupin. Number 2. Cobra Kai. And number 1 is Bridgerton. So real quick on Bridgerton. I saw the trailer for it, and surprise, surprise, it wouldn't typically be a Shane show. I gotta admit, I watched the first 2 episodes. I really got into it. My VP, surprisingly, did not, but I heard it gets better after episode 3. So I think I'm going to go ahead and revisit that. And then my wife was trying to find a show that we can watch together, and she picked The Crown. Again, and I've said it many times in this podcast. I had zero interest in The Crown. I watched 1 episode, and I'd rather give myself an enema than that. So freaking boring. It took us 1 episode. Yep, that's it for The Crown. But happily to report, I got through Big Mouth Season 4, which is currently 100% critic score with a 70% audience score. You get a couple new voice actors in here. You get Seth Rogen for a little bit. You get Zach Galifianakis towards the end. He's in it for 2 episodes. They start you off at summer camp before they get to high school. Still a very strong season, but compared to the other seasons, it's a little step down, even though critics didn't see it that way. And there's 1 episode, it's episode 6. It's the Nick Starr episode. I think that was the worst episode of the entire run of Big Mouth so far. But I still love it. It is still very cringeworthy. But to me, I'm going to echo this point. They hit what you go through puberty and what you deal with in high school. They hit the nail on the head. Like slam dunk in a very funny, in-your-face, vulgar kind of way, which obviously resonates with me. I will say, here are the 2 storylines I kind of liked. I really liked they finally paid attention to Missy. I liked her journey and trying to find herself and just trying to shake things up in her personality and really taking a deep dive of who she really is. I enjoyed that. And I actually enjoyed Matthew's storyline because he's still in the closet. And when I found his mom is the one who finds out that he's homosexual. And she has this, obviously she's keeping it from her husband, but she doesn't accept who he is. And there was a moment towards the end of the season where he actually finally comes to grips and tells his dad. And all his dad says is, I know, I'm the one who drove you to all those dance tap classes. And that was it. That's all he spoke of it. I thought that was a really cool twist in how to handle that situation. So if you're a fan of Big Mouth, then this season was a good, solid season. But just a notch below the previous 3 seasons. So very enjoyable still. I don't agree with the critics, obviously. I don't agree with the audience. I would go a 3.5 out of 5 for me on Season 4 of Big Mouth. Now, let's get into Cobra Kai Season 3. I got through this in about 2 days. It's very easy. So, I love the blend of just 80s cheesiness with the way they integrated the show into today. Now, obviously, some of the choreographed fights are just... they're not great. They're pretty bad. But anyway, if most of you have probably already seen this season. You get some nice callbacks from when Daniel goes to Japan. You get Chosen, and then you get his girlfriend from Japan. You get Elizabeth Shue in here, which I really thought... I liked seeing her in this, but for some reason her acting was bad in this. Not to say she's a great actress, but she's pretty good. But in this, I don't know. She just came off as too over the top. But anyway, it was nice to see her and Johnny reunite, at least for one day. Then really, the bulk of this season centers around, obviously, Miguel trying to come out of his coma and walk again, and Johnny and the guilt he feels, and he let Kreese take over Cobra Kai, and now they're being a real bunch of dicks in high school. And then you have Daniel's daughter Samantha going through some issues as well, and he doesn't know how to help her, and plus he's having business issues. So I thought this season did a nice job blending all that out, but they did. What you do get more in this season is John Kreese and his background when he was in Vietnam, even before when he went to Vietnam. I think it's supposed to make you feel a little more sympathetic towards his character. It didn't do it for me. I still think he's a dick. I did like the last fight scene with Johnny and then Daniel coming in towards the end. Really didn't enjoy that. They do leave you with a little bit of a cliffhanger for season 4 because he calls one of his Vietnam buddies that he helped out, and the guy said, "I'll always be indebted to you," so he calls somebody. I don't know. You know what would be cool? If they bring Hilary Swank into the fold, because obviously, have you seen the movie she's doing now? It's not like she's above Cobra Kai at this point, looking back at her current track record of movies. I mean, she's in this new One Night Stand movie. I don't even know what it's called. I was like, wow. So you go from that movie that she was in last year with the hunting people. Golly, brain knock. Anyway, she was in that, and now she's in this movie. I don't know. But I would like to see her character come in if you're going to tie all the Karate Kids together. And I don't remember much from the third Karate Kid. That's one I think I've only seen that movie one time. But anyway, it would be cool. Not the only negative, but one of the negatives is I think they had way too many flashbacks in this season. Like sometimes it's cool, but sometimes they just run them too long. But just a very fun show. And they're like 20 to 25 minutes per episode. I mean, you fly through these things. So big thumbs up for me on Cobra Kai Season 3. I give it a 4.5 out of 5. And I heard they have spin-offs in the creators for the show have spin-offs in mind. That would be interesting, depending on where they're going to take it. But they already said they have the end in sight. Like they already know how they want to end the series. So it looks like we're at least going to get one or two more seasons. Definitely the 4th season's been announced. They're already working on that. But I can see this going on until season 5 before it kind of starts running out of steam. So we'll see. Anyway, 4.5 out of 5 for me on Cobra Kai. And I'm going to finish with the movie Soul, which you can find right now on Disney+. And to be honest with you folks, I had very little interest when I saw the trailer for this. But it came out Christmas Day, and I said, well, you know what? Let me just go ahead and throw this on. So right now it's sitting at 95% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes and 89% audience score. You get Jamie Foxx, Tina Fey, Felicia Rashad. So Jamie Foxx plays a guy named Joe, and Tina Fey plays 22. And basically Joe's a middle school band teacher, and his life hasn't quite gone the way he expected. His true passion is jazz, and he's really trying out for this jazz band. He doesn't want to take the position at school, even though it will satisfy his mother, played by Felicia Rashad, that he would have some stability. But as soon as he gets what he wants, he falls into a pothole and dies. So he was supposed to go to the great beyond, but instead he ends up in the great before. And the great before is a place where unborn souls are molded before they get sent off to Earth. And he gets a case of mistaken identity as far as he is concerned. He is paired up and he's supposed to be mentoring 22, played by Tina Fey, who is a constant problem child. She refuses to find her spark and has gone through like every mentor you can think of, and she's kind of ruined them all. So they finally form an agreement, a selfish one at that if Joe helps her find her spark, she will let him go back to Earth in her place. And that is pretty much the crux of the movie. But what I really enjoyed is, one, it's visually striking, especially the great before and the great after. Visually moving, visually striking. The way they depict New York City, very detailed. It felt very real. The score is great, and I think that was Trent Reznor and Atticus Rose. But what I will say about this, and it is funny, they had more humor in it than I thought. There was a part of the movie where Joe gets trapped inside a cat's body. That led for a lot of good laughs. But this is a deep movie, and I don't think they come off as like hitting you over the head too much with it. I thought they found a nice balance. To me, this is more of an adult movie because kids aren't going to get the concepts, the existential concepts and theories and philosophies that Disney and Pixar are throwing into this film. And maybe that's why I felt connected to this film, because they do play around with a lot of philosophical stuff that, finding purpose, finding what makes you happy. You're not defined by what you do. It was just, I thought, very different, very thoughtful, very well written. And maybe it was because I was in a different place mentally around Christmas that this movie just kind of just vibed all over me. So I really, really enjoyed this movie a lot more than I thought I would going into it. But again, I have to emphasize, I don't think this is a kid's Pixar film. And my buddy, Mr. Organ myself, is actually working on trying to rank all 23 Pixar films. Good luck. I told him the one thing I know for sure is Cars 2 is the last one in there. That movie was terrible. But if I had to quickly put this somewhere, I would definitely find a way in the top 10 for me. So, not to steal his thunder, but I would definitely put it in there for me. So I agree with the critics and the audience on this one. I'm giving this one a 4.5 out of 5. It was one of the better movies of the year. And that's another thing, folks. I'm sorry, I didn't come at you with a top show, top movie list this year, like ringing in the new year. Because honestly, I was trying to think back. I don't really remember what the hell I watched. I know the volume was down. I think I ended up going back and watching movies I've already seen. A lot of older movies, rewatching some TV shows I've already seen. So yeah, no lists this year. 2020, no lists. 2021, a little different. And I guess I'll start that venture with Wonder Woman. And that's it, folks. That's all I have for you. So hopefully this week I will get to Outside the Wire with Anthony Mackie and Wonder Woman and report back, and who knows what will happen in between. In the meantime, go over to Facebook, Media Mosh. Go over to my Twitterverse, at Shane Media Mosh. More importantly, people, go over to the Apple Podcast Store. Download me. Share me. Let me into your friends' lives. They will thank you for it. And then circle back and go check out Mr. Arg myself on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. 3 different platforms for 3 different types of content. Get caught up. Get caught up in the mosh.